Hello, hello, hello. It's Winning Wednesday. Thank you all for being here. I hope you've had a really great day. I hope it's been a good week, a productive week for you. So welcome to Winning Wednesday. For those who've not met me before, I'm Charlotte Stallings, and what we do here every Wednesday, not every Wednesday, it's every other Wednesday. That's a good cadence for me, is to showcase and highlight folks, everyday regular folks who are making it happen, who are winning without perfection or permission, who are running a business. They're being great leaders on their jobs. They're being great individual contributors. They're being amazing moms, dads, children, nieces, nephews, whatever it looks like, but they're making it happen. And so our goal on Winning Wednesday is just to be a conduit. And by conduit, I mean just I'm the pass through. It's like a pipe. Something that runs through, and I'm just connecting people to the world, people who I find to be intriguing and amazing and upstanding and doing really, really great things. So thank you for being here. Here's something you can do. Thank you for supporting. I recognize that people will pop in here live and then people will watch later, and that's really good. So what you can do to support what we're doing here is go ahead and share this to your Facebook page or wherever you'd like to do that. That would be amazing, so that we can get the word out about Winning Wednesday, okay? Now, if you are wondering, yes, I have different hair. This is my spring and summer hair, and I'm trying to change up and be more flexible and fluid. So I'm excited about it. And my amazing hairstylist, Monica Rockmore at Rockmo Salons, hooked me up. So yes, a little different. I'm getting used to it and I'm liking it a whole lot. So with that, I don't want to belabor what we're going to do and talk about tonight. So welcome to Winning Wednesday, and to wrap up Financial Literacy Month. And 3 years ago, so this is still anniversary month for me. 3 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was thinking, what can I do to help and encourage and support people in this journey? None of us knew how long was this going to last, what's it going to entail. And I thought, well, let me bring some folks on who know about money. So we had insurance, we had a stylist on, we had a pharmacist friend who could talk about how we could save money with our medications and prescriptions. And what started is something really cool, just helping, engaging through the way that I knew, talking, creating a space in this platform, has delved into 3 years, 3 whole years. So it's really cool that we're still here, and that's only because of your support. So tonight, as we wrap up Financial Literacy Month, 2 weeks ago, we talked to Cassie Simmons. She talked to us about credit, how to strengthen our credit, things that we could do. And I gave you all some homework to go and pull your credit report. So I hope you did that. Let me know in the chat or the comment if you did. If not, all good. You can still go do that. But I thought we talked personal financial finances, personal finance stuff. Let's talk to the business owners. So if you've got a dream, a hope, a wish about starting a business, or you run a business, whether your business is thriving or you're kind of making it on a prayer, a wing and a prayer, not a problem, because Kim Roxie is going to help us tonight. So help me welcome. I want to introduce, I consider her a friend. And let me tell you, I met her. We first moved to Houston. It's been many years ago. So it's been over 20 years ago. And I wanted to get my eyelashes done. I wanted to get my brows together. And she was one of 2 business owners that I knew. One was Margot Hickman, who was out. She was on the radio talking about her business, doing her thing. And Kim had a freestanding building. And you could go in and get your services. And I didn't know any Black women who owned businesses and had been running them for a while. She had products and she was in different spaces and places around the city and the country. And so, hey, Thisha, I remember meeting her, and her humble spirit that she had then is what it is today. I have been in New York. My sister and I went to a fashion show during Fashion Week or something. And we see Kim there. Kim is there. She's getting the models all together. She partners. She does so much. She started her business. She's got an amazing story. And she's graciously agreed to be here. She's on Home Shopping Network. She's everywhere. And I'm just pumping her up. She's going to tell you some more about herself in a moment. And I'm getting ready to bring her on. So Kim, here we go. I'm about to bring you on for the people. So can we give it up for Ms. Kim Roxie? Hey, Kim. Hey, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Charlotte, I just think the world of you. And so, for you to ask me to come on, I don't take for granted.
Well, that is so very sweet, and I'm appreciative. I don't take it for granted that you showed up here in the 2 years. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'm never
Yes.
about the numbers of people who were here. I'm about quality, not quantity. And what I
Yes.
know is those who are listening live right now are going to be blessed and encouraged and get great nuggets. And I know that there
Yes.
will be others who listen in and they're going to gain great insight. So let's just jump into it. And I
Yes.
told you, I know you got a little one looking for you. So I don't want to keep you from that, okay? But
Yes.
tell the people some more. What would you like us to know about you? So any other introductions you'd like for us to know? Just tell us more
Yeah.
about
I
yourself.
mean, I think you said it really well, just even how we met and the way that I've met so many people just like that. I realized that I've been entrepreneur my whole adult life. So I've sort of been looking through this lens of entrepreneurship for a while now.
Mhm.
And I know for me, I started off at 21 acting out on the dream. And now I'm 40
Mhm.
and here I am.
Mhm.
So I mean, I love to get deeper into it, but your introduction was amazing. I'm Kim Roxie, KIMROXIE, and I'm the founder of LAMIK Beauty. We're a clean color cosmetic brand that is really looking to bring paraben-free, talc-free, vegan makeup to everyone who deserves that.
That's so good. That is so
Yes.
good. And so
Yes.
you were in this game of clean
Hmm.
way back, like back. So you started at 21, 40
Hmm.
now. I mean, that's almost 20 years. So I hope you're
Yes.
planning some big 20-year anniversary thing that we all gonna
Well,
get to
it's
hit
so
at as
funny.
well.
It's so funny because I was just thinking about how for the first 14 years of my business, I really didn't know a lot. And so for me, I decided when I met you, I had my brick and mortar store
Mhm.
and we sold some products, we did services. But then I decided in 2018 to close that business model and to close
Mhm.
the way of doing business and to go out and learn how I could launch my makeup brand itself into the marketplace and go fill in the gaps and the knowledge gaps that I had. And
Mhm.
so, for me, I feel like I'm just starting because in
Mhm.
March 2020 is when we launched what we would call LAMIK 2.0, really about the brand, about the makeup brand and all of that, and we're launching it nationwide. And so it's been 3 years on that journey. And
Yeah.
so, for me, I went so long without knowing. And that's why I love the fact of financial literacy and literacy, period, because it's so important to educate up. And sometimes you have to do it while you're already on the journey. It's not so much that you do it at the beginning. You might do it in the middle. You might do it, in the middle of the middle, and you got to be open to that.
Yeah. So that's good. So you said a whole lot right there. And I always tell people if you miss Bible study tonight, it's a-okay because we're about to drop some nuggets and some word and some good stuff. So educating in the middle, wherever you are, and let's
Hmm.
let's dial it back. So you had that brick and mortar, ran that
Hmm.
business for a long, long time,
Yeah.
decided to close it in 2018 and then
Yes.
to I'll call it even pivot or
Yeah.
reinvent.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, that's several years to say you
Yes.
really pulled back from what
Yes.
you had done every single day of
Yes.
your life to build something that was very successful. You had a lot
Hmm.
of clients. I know I'd come in
Yes.
and everything was
Yes.
great. We wait, we just got all of our got taken care of. And
Yes.
so you said you didn't know a lot when you started. What motivated you to take that turn and how did that impact you financially in terms of being able to go forward, or what did that
Hmm.
look like?
Hmm. So you said it right. Wednesday night Bible study, because that's what we're about to get to. Because for me, I did get the nudge from God in 2018. And I'm always like mindful of how I share that. Because to be honest, to me, that's intrapersonal.
Yeah.
And so I don't just sort of say that to make it sound like it's right or whatever the case might be.
Right.
But intrapersonally, it was right because I got that nudge from God. That what I was doing, and a lot of times we when we think about a nudge from God, we always think about it being something delightful, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, you know, I was told to do this kind of thing. And for me, it was like I got the awakening that what I was doing wasn't going to be relevant
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
And so what I needed to do was position myself for the future.
Mm.
And I got that nudge. And so I went on what you would call almost like a sabbatical, where you sort of go out to discover, for God to reveal something to you. I have a motto at LAMIK that says beauty is revealed, not applied.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I really went out for God to reveal something to me. So I like took these. I remember going to the Asian Financial Forum in Hong Kong,
Did you?
on a delegation with three other women, one, two, three, four other women. And we were the only other American women delegation there. Literally, we had headphones on for interpretation. And no one at the conference looked like us. It was full of Asian men, mostly. But I remember Robert Smith was there.
The billionaire.
And he was on the panel, and I actually got a chance to talk to him and everything over there, because again, we're the only ones in the room that even look it's like him. And so, but I went on trips like that to go discover, to go see, because I felt that nudge from God that there was more, but I didn't know quite how to get there. And so I just had to go on this path to discovery. And so then that's when I got my next marching order to go out to Austin, and I got accepted into Accelerator out there.
Okay.
And I got
explain that for people, because we have all kinds of business owners.
Yes.
A lot of folks might be consultants like myself.
Yes.
Speakers, trainers, coaches, all kinds of things. So an
Yes.
accelerator for a business owner and entrepreneurs.
So I got accepted into a pre-accelerator there. It was called Give Inc. And it was a tech sort of accelerator. So it's tech or tech enabled. So if your business is tech, using software, or either tech enabled, just the fact that you use technology to enable your product or service. And that's what an accelerator. So if you look at tech and tech enabled accelerators, they take startups, businesses, and put them inside of usually about a 3-month, 12-week sort of sprint, where you work on the business pretty much nonstop during that time. And it's almost like a work sprint where you develop, whether it's a minimum viable product, if it's a software as a service company, or if it's a product or service business that's just enabled by technology, then you come up with, most people look at like business plans. It's sort of like that, but it's accelerated, like the way in which you move. Yes, much quicker.
Yes. Very intense. It sounds like an intensive. You're really working in your business, on your business, all eyes on it. And it sounds like you have support, right?
Yeah. And then you have support. So you're usually surrounded by advisors, mentors, people who have exited companies before, that kind of thing. You're surrounded around. And so to get inside of a lot of these accelerators as a Black woman is really hard. When you start to go into, again, these tech and tech enabled ones, the ones that are in Austin, Boston, Silicon Valley, all these different places, because I actually looked for ones in Houston where we live, but I actually didn't find any. So I had to go out to Austin.
Okay. So a couple of hours to
left my family. Every week to go there for that. And I was a part of a pre-accelerator there called Give Inc. at the time. And I would come back to Houston and tell the ladies I knew here, because I know people were in business, but was not learning the information I was learning in this accelerator. So I came back to tell people about it.
That's really cool. So I'm gonna double back. So you're running your business, you got the brick and mortar, you get a nudge that what's it going to look like down the road? It's not going to look like this. So I need to figure something out. And you go on the journey, literally overseas, to get insight, to get information. There you go to the accelerator, and we're here. Now I'm going to ask you to pivot there, because I want you to go back and talk about some financial things before. You said you didn't know a lot at the beginning. So talk about maybe just 3 key lessons that you learned in hindsight, or maybe in the moment while you were running and had the brick and mortar, around financial things, specifically to business owners. So what are 3 things you learned? Hard way, easy way, whatever way it came.
Yeah, I think one of the big things I learned was the top line revenue number has nothing to do with the profit number, right? And I think that's like the big thing. Like a lot of times people are always asking you, like what's your revenues, but we're not looking at the profit, the profit margin. And I think that that's just one thing to definitely look out for. You can make $50 million and spend 49 million, and it doesn't do anything.
The math not mathing.
The math not mathing, and it's just glamorous, right? It's glamorous to say, yeah, I made that much, but we're not talking about, did you spend all of it too, or did the expenses even over exceed what it was?
Exactly.
I think that's the thing that I learned.
So stay there. I want you to stay there, and I
Yeah.
don't want to assume everybody who's on understands everything you're saying. So top line revenue, that's like, here's what my gross sales were. Oh,
Yes.
somebody says, how much did you make last year? Like you just said, oh, I made 50 million. The question becomes, what was your bottom line number? Like, so you take, here's what I made, here's what it cost me, here's my expenses, cost of, doing
Yes.
business, here's what I netted, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so you want to, like, so somebody might say, if I made 50 mil and I took home $1 million, like, is that good? I mean, when you look at that ratio,
It might be, depending on what's happening, right? It might be because maybe you got paid. I mean, everything in between happened, and maybe that's fine. But to say that somebody else could have made 12 million a year, and their net number could be, they still make 2 million more in profit for that business, more than that 50 million. And I think that's just something to look at.
okay.
I think it's something to look at, to say that just because your top line number is big, you got to look at how much it net down to.
What's it costing you to get to that number, right? So for everybody listening, we're talking, I've asked Kim to dial it back because she's done some great things, but 3 key financial lessons for business owners, for entrepreneurs. So one is top line number is important. That's good. What's that bottom line number looking like? Good. What's another lesson? Give us, we're just focusing on the power 3s.
So how I'm bringing it back in, your profit margins on your individual products. So if you sell a consumer good, or even if you're doing a service, everything that impacts the actual cost of goods, that then impacts your profit margin. And sometimes we actually don't calculate that cost of goods in a way that is true to what it really costs to make the product, or either the service, or to provide the service. And I think that's just something that once I dialed it back, once I looked at it, that's something that I'm way more conscious about now. Like looking at when we look at like landing costs, how much it costs to ship, like all of those different things. It's something that sometimes can get skipped over. You only look at like the material cost, the raw material, like that kind of thing. And it's like, it's the shipping that's inside of there, what kind of packaging you're going to use, because depending on what kind of packaging you use can make the cost of the goods, go up, go down, increase. It can impact your profit margin in such a way that you would totally choose something else versus this. And just that whole profit margin part, like knowing that on your cost of goods, like it's just so important.
Okay, so whether you run a business that is producing products, and I'm going to show you one of your products real quick. So you making candles, you doing whatever. You need to be mindful of, what does it cost? Look at every single element in that. What is touched? I love what you said about landing, packaging, all those things are important. So we're talking about numbers. And one big theme I'm hearing here, Kim, is from a financial standpoint, being really smart as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you got to know your numbers. And continually to know them, because with the pandemic, everything, even things have just changed. That's the reason why we talk about inflation and all that. That's affecting a lot. And if you don't change, you can drown, because you sort of succumb to all of that. And instead of sort of like getting on top of it, explaining to the customer, renegotiating contracts and things like that. All those things we have to do. So yes. Good. So top line number, be amazing. I want you to look at your bottom line number. She's talked about. Also, What does it cost you to produce this product or this service? Being very
Mm-hmm.
mindful of that. And what's one other thing that would be important, maybe a big important lesson you learned from a financial standpoint as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that, you know, I think that's something else that I just learned, is the lifestyle, the lifestyle that you live, or the lifestyle that you're looking at, ultimately spills over into your business.
Talk about that. What do you mean?
Yeah. So basically, you know, I think as a business owner, um, knowing what for you, your lifestyle, what you want to do, the way that you want to live, the things that you want to do, ultimately spills over into your business. So some people are not, some people will make certain sacrifices for their business that others won't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being aware of that helps you to, one, get the right type of capital to fund your business.
Mm-hmm.
All of that matters there. And so it's not, I know sometimes, and I just say this because I know for me, there's been so many different sacrifices in having this business. And sometimes if I talk to a counterpart or something like that, somebody who just left corporate America, came started a business, their sacrifice level may not really be the same, because the lifestyle
Right.
that it's used to, or whatever the case might be. And so knowing your threshold, like knowing that, because there's no right or wrong.
Right.
It's about knowing thyself, you know.
To be true.
Um,
Be true to thyself. Yeah.
yes. And so I just think that that's just something financially that we should look at, because everybody's different, and just like the sacrifices that are made. I mean, I literally, you know, I was just reading something today about an actress who slept in her friend's bike shop, Janelle from Abbott Elementary. I was just reading this from that show.
Oh, wow. And I love
She,
that show. Yeah.
yes, she slept in her friend's bike shop, and 4 nights a week, and she would hurry up and leave before the bike shop opened. She slept on an air mattress. She would hurry up and leave before the bike shop opened, and she would lug around her stuff all day, do some jobs, and then go back
Wow.
to go to sleep. And now she's Emmy nominated and all of that. And basically she was saying to anybody reading this, keep going through the day with all your stuff. Just keep going, because you're going to get somewhere. So I think about that in regards to even my own self. I remember when I closed the store and I went out to Austin, the sacrifice I was making, I went and stayed at a friend's house to be able to be there and to do all of that. And I think that, you know, just that level of sacrifice, leaving my family, just all of that, it wasn't glamorous at all. It was really tiresome. But that sort of knowing that it was something on the other side, I couldn't tell you what it was. I just knew that I just had to try to make it happen. But the sacrifices that I made, most wouldn't probably make, just because it's not comfortable.
Right.
It's uncomfortable. It is it's not very egocentric. It makes you lay down your ego. And so I think that, you just need to know that, because financially, where do you sort of, will you be able to do it or not, or the pace in which you do it, or all of that really matters. And so I just bring that up because your lifestyle has a lot to do with how you can financially fund your business and everything.
So you're giving us, this is what I love about what we try to do here on Wednesday nights. Again, this whole winning without perfection or permission. Somebody else might have said, well, oh my gosh, why didn't you stay in a hotel or get you an Airbnb? And again, it's a choice you made. And there are sacrifices in running your own business, and it's going to look different for everybody. So I heard you saying kind of what you didn't necessarily say. Don't compare yourself to somebody else, how it is they're doing. And you got to decide for yourself, what's right for you, what looks right for you is right for you. And so I appreciate that truth and that that transparency there. So big lessons, everybody, from a financial standpoint. So be mindful of your top line number, but look
Mhm.
what the bottom line is, and is it costing you a whole lot to produce this? It may be okay for you, but could you improve upon that? So being mindful of
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Also, again, what does it cost? Being very mindful of all the elements that it costs to produce your good or your service, and then
Mhm.
thinking about just your lifestyle going into your
Mhm.
business or as you're running it. And there might be sacrifices in times where you need to pivot. So those are good things, Kim. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because it's like, can your business afford you as an employee? You know, and maybe it cannot.
Mm, yeah. Because if you're like, I need to be that $300,000, that's what I'm bringing home. But if your business and you're paying yourself from that, and that's making your business be in the red, it's like, is that a good move? You're laughing. You're so tickled. Is that what we're saying? Is that we're just saying that's the question,
No,
right?
because we're saying that because I just find that I find it a lot. I find it a lot when I end up talking to people that their business can't even afford them.
Wow. So that makes the business maybe highly exposed, or it could create a problem overall for the business.
Yeah, and you end up leaving the business and going to go work, you know, what you usually do, because it's just, it doesn't, or you need to make it, or it's a side, or needs to be a side situation so you can get both, which I'm a big advocate of. I'm a big advocate of people having side hustles.
Oh, me too.
so so I think that, you know, that's something else that could be done. But again, realizing that and not just sort of being so blind, like that's not what it takes for you. You know,
Mhm.
like you need to know that and realize that and ask yourself that question: can
Good.
my business afford me as an employee?
That's real good. That right there is a whole complete Wednesday night Bible study nugget. Can my business afford me based on how you want to live? And if you're wanting to live at maybe what you were, those levels from corporate, does that translate over here? And yeah, that's, I love how you're just cutely smiling into this, like that's what I'm talking about there. So that's the question, everybody. Can your business afford you? That's good. So, would there be anything different for the person who's here saying, you know what, I'm just looking to get started in my business and I don't
Hmm.
even have any top line anything?
Hmm.
Is there any different advice, financial advice you would give to the person who's just starting out?
To the person just starting out, yeah, I would probably go through that whole thing. Like, where are you at? What are you willing to do? Um, uh, you know, also, what is it that you're doing right now that will aid the business? What do
Mhm,
you have to bring to the table for the business? You
mhm,
know, do you have the credit to bring to the table for the business that then you can get, you know, business credit lines, you can get business credit cards, you can get, you know, different things that would help the business.
mhm,
You know, or, you know, so look at that. Look at, you know, look at what are you bringing to the business?
mhm,
Um, you know, are you bringing, some people are bringing some type of nest to the business, maybe that they've saved or whatever the case might be. Um, they might just be bringing skill set that they really have that's really good. And so then, you know, you can use that and you can work for free per se, right? While you can invest that into drumming up business and all of that. Everybody's just totally different. I will
mhm,
say that, you know, I do believe in business that it could be totally different for each person because I've always sort of been in a community commerce sort of environment when it came to business. So,
when you say community commerce, you
yep,
mean
I'm gonna
what?
break it down. Yep.
Okay,
So
great.
community commerce, meaning when I launched LAMIK 2.0, I was gonna when I got ready to launch, I was launching 2020, March 2020. So leading up to that in 2019, I did a crowdfunding campaign. And I did a rewards-based crowdfunding campaign, which is more like a contribution, more like a collection plate, more like a you get rewards for contributing. I didn't do the equity crowdfunding campaign, which I love too, and I want to do, but that one is more for equity. In the
Mhm.
beginning, I just wanted to do something that was more like contributions, and you get a reward for that. Well, I did a crowdfunding campaign. I did not have good credit I was bringing to the business or something like that to just go get a loan, or even just not even our fault. You know, for a lot of women that look like myself, Black women, it's not easy to get a business loan or anything like that. Statistics show it.
Mhm.
So, um, maybe, and again, like I said, I never had worked and had that corporate sort of backing, always been entrepreneurial in that way. And so for me, I didn't have the startup capital that I needed to do the things that I wanted to do, but I knew that I had a vision. And when I found out, because when I went through the accelerators, these tech accelerators in Austin, I was always the only Black woman. And I went through 3 of them out there, and I was always the only Black woman. And when I got out of one of them, it was a venture capital back accelerator. It was there that I found out that only 0.003% of Black women raise venture capital. And the whole accelerator was talking about raising venture capital. Now, my white guy counterparts were all like, oh, I met with that investor. They wrote me a $200,000 check. Kim, go over there and go talk to him. And I go over there and go talk to him, and I don't come out with the same outcome. Or I go in there and go talk to them. They sound like, they sort of put me like, oh, maybe. But then they never followed up, or they ghosted, or whatever the case might be, or they act like I didn't know anything. They want to change the whole business around, trying to tell me, like just about beauty and all of that kind of stuff. And so when I realized this, I was like trying to raise money, and it wasn't working out. I was like, this not going to work out for me like that. So I started to get pissed off because I learned about statistics. And then I experienced it firsthand. So I was like, I'm gonna tell the women I know about this. I know plenty of, women who are hardworking, who are smart, who are brilliant, who, if they found this out, they'd be pissed off. And that's what I did. I told them and pissed them off, just like I was pissed off. And so we raised $50,000 in a month. On a crowdfunding campaign.
Crowdfunding and this community collaborative. We're all going to do this together. I got you. That's cool. That's good.
So community commerce. So again, it's about bringing the skills that you have, right? So again, it's not always about, do you have the money itself, but are you able to galvanize people? Are you able to build relationships in a way to be able to do it? So that's how I got our sort of pre-seed money to then launch. And so for someone starting financially, it just might look different for everybody, but I literally started with other people's money, but also not in a way to where I owed anyone as well. And so I think that it's just about using your skill set that you have to be able to start, to have that startup capital and all of that.
That's good. So the key is, and we're at the top of the hour, and I want to be mindful of time. So if you give us a few more minutes, and I would love that. So starting out, having capital, and there's statistics all around that say that's the number one reason businesses fail in a very short time, because they're undercapitalized. So some great thoughts around how we can do that. If you can go to the bank, get a traditional loan, you not even mad, just being mindful of that. Talk to all kinds of resources and services. She talked about accelerators, and there are C options that are out there, and crowdfunding, doing this in a way with community, with others, to be able to give what you need. So making sure we're capitalized. And here's what came to mind for me, Kim. So when you're reaching out, you're doing that kind of thing. I'm imagining you're going to your network, you're going to the people you know. And I'm thinking this, you know what, I don't mean you, because this is not you, but if someone's not had a good experience in just connecting with people, being nice, being, professional, when you send me that note talking about, hey, can you send 20? Can you hit me on my Zelle or my Cash App? I'm gonna go, no, because that person kind of got a stank attitude. But when you send out the note, it's like, Kim's always been cool. Kim, you have been consistent from day one. And I'm just saying it because it's true. So this notion of building your network, and not just doing it so I'm nice to people so they'll give me something. Right. How important is just your name and you being an individual and being approachable and handling customer service things? Like, how important is that? That's not necessarily financially related, but I think it is.
It is. Yeah. It is, because it affects your bottom line. It affects everything. And I don't know if we put enough. One time I had said relationships are the new rich. Like, you're going to get your wealth through relationships. You're going to gain, whether it's, having been able to have an employee staff, having stakeholders, having investors, having a network of people who will refer you business, having folks that trust, love you, and respect you, and know that you're going to get the job done, reliable, dependable. I think that, and a lot of times we get all of those words confused with perfection.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say all of that, somebody will say, well, that means I got to do everything perfect. And I can't stand when we even, say it got to be perfect. I'm gonna tell you now, pretty much nothing I do is perfect. I will be the first to say, like even right now, I can look at a couple of things I should have done. I should have did this. I should have put up, like I should have wore a ring. Like I have all these things. I am not, when I show up most of the time, I'm never perfectly what I want it to be, based on, the little illusion in my head. However, because I was purposed to be here, and I was formed in my mother's womb before the foundations of this earth, right? I cannot get off of purpose if I try.
Ooh.
So what happens is that no, I am not perfect in my little fantasy elusive world that I want to be in, but I am purposed. And so because of that, when I think about these things, I don't think about anymore about like, oh, could it be like this? Could it be like that? No, this is the way he purposed it.
And
Are
you all catching that? I just have to punctuate. Purposed. We're not trying to be perfect. We're trying to be purposed. That is a whole thing there. That's a tweetable. That's I'm gonna post that, repost.
Yes.
Kim Roxie. It's about being purposed. And so then that's what maybe can help us to rid ourselves, and even in that moment, releasing the thing about it's got to be perfect. It's got to be great. It's like my purpose is what's driving me and pushing me despite the imperfections. And especially I call them the girls in the head, the guys in the head who just say the crazy to us.
Yes.
It is about being purposed. And so talk about this. Take that and talk about this. I'm telling you, you are the queen of partnerships. You are the queen of sponsoring. I was out seeing Ivy in New York several years ago prior to the pandemic. And we were at this fashion show, and I'd never been to I didn't know they just lasted about 10 minutes. I was like,
you blink, and you blink is over.
It took us longer to get to the place, get in the place, get them seats in the whole show. I swear I turned around. What is going on? I've never been to one like that. It was amazing. But the cool thing was, we look up, here's Kim Roxie. And I was like, what? And so you were doing makeup and you post this, you are like everywhere. And it seems like that's been a part of your business model. Is that like giving? Is that you will sponsor stuff? How has that helped you from just building your business awareness? Talk about that.
Yeah. Wow. And you know how, and let me just, oh my gosh, because my mouth is full right now because I have a lot I could say, but I'm just trying to choose the fact that first I have to give a little bit back here because Charlotte, you're an extremely important person, right? You're like, first of all, purposed to be, this classy, important woman, your whole family, your mama, your sister. I mean, just everybody, the niece, your daughter, I mean, y'all whole family, right? Yeah. And so I say that to say that I've gotten to know you through relationship, through this business, but then relationship. And I think that for me, all of the places that I've been able to go to and all of this, my parents are phenomenal. My dad is still here with me. And my mom, who passed away from metastatic breast cancer, people have heard me talk about a lot, still upholding her legacy. My daughter's named after her. They raised us as loving individuals, but I was not raised going to fashion shows. I was not raised going to galas. I was not raised to doing any of those things. I was raised being the church secretary, the pianist to the youth choir. Like that's what I was raised. Okay. That's what we got dressed up for. And so I just say that to say that a lot of times, even when we talk about network, don't try to just get to know people because of who you think they are. You're purposed, right? And you will come in contact with great people, and you will become before great people.
Yes.
And I think that that's just something to be mindful of. So I've always, used any gift I had to bring it forward. But I think that from a rich mindset and from a financial mindset, that little voice in my head wants to tell me sometimes, like, oh, you don't have enough to give, or whatever case might be, you should try to hold on to this. You don't know what's going to happen next, da 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 da. But then that abundance in me already knows, and it's the purpose part of me that be like, oh, you got enough, like God will just give me enough to like have to, and I'm just like, okay, just, yep. People will call me about certain things. And I'm like, if they call me, I must have it. And so I think.
Wait, stop, time out. If you didn't make Bible study, it's okay. She just gave us a whole word. If they calling me, I must have it. And that ain't even being lifted or full of yourself. That's about that purpose right there. Girl, are you not blessing us? If they calling, you must have it.
I must have it. I had to accept that, because I used to get off the phone and say, well, let me see. And, it was like, no, you got it. Rather it's sponsor this or do this or be a part of this. And it's like, if I call it, I must have it. And don't get me wrong. No matter what, whoever tries to come in front of me with, I don't know how much makeup on, with the cutest smile, my level of protection by God will always protect me from anything that's not supposed to be. But what I had to learn is that if they're calling me, I must got it. And it has put me forth in the place as the person that is the one that's giving and doing all of that, even though I want to go back and say, oh, no, but if it's like, I must have it, because what I had to realize is the same way I feel like God has called me to this, he then continues to call. See, this is a continual answer. You don't just answer God one time and say, I'm going to live for you and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. No. He calls over and over and over again, And so I think that that's the thing for me, and it has put me in places that I never could imagine. And it was because they called me, so I must got it.
That's a t-shirt. Girl, we're going to go with that. If they call, you must have it. And here's the deal, too. The Bible says, the word of God says, our gifts will make room for us.
Yes.
Our gifts. So everybody who's listening now and later, whatever gifts you have, like,
yes.
we are just obligated. We don't want to be like the parable of the talents, the one who got like, I knew you was going to be hard and come and get this. It's like, let me take your stuff and give it to somebody else. So the gifts that you have, Kim and everybody else, it's like the room will be made. We got to go work it. We've got to do our part.
Yes.
And that's really cool. And so that takes me to where I want to wind up.
Yes.
When you said you was going to be on Home Shopping Network, did we not like just go in like HSN? Now, I don't shop there, but because you were on there, I sure went. And this is
yes.
our brow kit. Yes, this is our brow kit. Got mine.
Yes.
I've always, do you know the very first brow brush I bought? I still have.
Yes.
So I got a new one. And so talk about like why you created the brow kit and how you got on HSN. Like that's got to be big for everybody with the product. And you've been on a second time. Weren't you the highest thing? Like something? Tell us about that. And break that and tell us how we can get our brow kits or anything else that you selling.
Yes. So Charlotte has a Revelation Brow Duo she got from HSN. And I got on HSN because I did a beauty pitch competition. And they have something called the Big Find, where you can audition. They do this thing across the country. It was not in person. It was across the country where they try to find different, brands or what have you, but you have to pitch. And if you get the call, like if all the judges vote for you, then you get to move to the round to pitch it to the buyers and try to get on the show. So that's what I did. And I remember sending in my little audition tape and, doing the thing and then getting called, being able to go before the judges and doing my thing right here on camera, just like this. And then getting everybody to say, yes, that was a part of my judging panel, and then getting on HSN. And when I got on HSN, I knew that I had to show up authentically me, because someone was going to be on the other side of that television amongst those millions of people who watch that show, that television programming. to see themselves. And so I created the Revelation Brow Duo because I was diagnosed with a form of alopecia that caused hair loss, and it affected my scalp and it affected my brows. And so this brow powder here, I actually put in my brows to mimic hair. And I use that brow brush that Charlotte just talked about. Yes. And then I take the cream right here and I put it underneath to highlight it. And so I give myself brows here on the end. Charlotte, I tell you, when we first got on here, I had on no makeup. I literally did my whole face in 10 minutes.
I was not going to say that, Kim, because that's your business. What we do here, we can stay right here.
I'm telling you, but I just want to tell, because I'm like, some people think I spend all day doing my makeup, and I'm like, girl, I get my whole face together in 10 minutes.
She did. And I'm the truth, y'all, because I asked her to be on at 8:20. She didn't look like this. She's beautiful anyway, but she did, and she really did it in 10 minutes.
So this is what we do, and this is what I use to give that quick fix look for me and to give me brows, because your brows frame 75% of your face. So I got on edges and I took off my eyebrow. I did it live on camera and everything, and we hit 136% of our achievement rate. We sold out of some of the colors. I mean, it was just like so much that happened. And we went back, and we'll be going back and all that kind of good stuff. But, you know, I think that me being vulnerable and sharing even why I created this, not just for makeup's sake, but for my own safety of how I wanted to show up and brows make me feel better and look better to me. And so that's what I created that for. And so I got so many emails and messages later telling me about, I lost actually the host of the show, Marlo, who's a vet on the show. She's been on there for 25 years. And she said this was the greatest brow product she's seen so far. Wow. And she actually has a thyroid, thyroid issues. And so she's experiencing some sparse hairs on her brows. And she's like, this is all I use now.
Oh, that is so cool. What a wonderful, wonderful testimony. I want you all listening to some things that Kim has said to us about Home Shopping Network. So they didn't come knocking to you personally necessarily, but there was an opportunity out there and you went for it. So it was a pitch competition of sorts, and you pitched, and there were likely thousands of other people, and you came through. So in our businesses, we got to go for it. I used to really think, God's going to bust through the sky and bless me and do this, do that. Not so much. I think he creates opportunities for us, and we are a part of the miracle. So we've got to step to it and step through it. Word says faith without works is dead. So we can have faith all day. We sit up here, oh, Lord, I'm just believing. Let these doors open. Let these things come. You talked about getting in the car every week, making the sacrifices to go to Austin, to be in the accelerator, to learn. You worked together. You got together with the other folks to crowd fund, to raise the money that you needed to go forward. So there's work that we have to do, you all. And you said to us loud and clear early, there were things you didn't know. And you listened to the nudges, the God nudges, and said, let me pull back, let me fall back and learn, get some more knowledge to be able to create a business that is sustainable. And that's pivoting. And so that's so wonderful. Kim, thank you. Let me ask, any parting words for whether it's that you've shared thoughts for the new business owner, but let's say there's someone who's been in business for a minute, anything, whether it's financial related or just any part of anything that you might encourage us with.
Shout out to Jennifer, Thesha. I see them in here just talking. I just want to acknowledge them. Thesha's been such a loyal customer of mine too. I would say this because I'm actually very interested in the entrepreneur that's in the middle, that's in the dash.
Ooh, the middle, that's a whole thing. My sister talks about the middle all the time.
Middle.
I'm study right here, going with it.
Yes, I'm the middle child. So I am sandwiched between an older and a younger sister and all of that. And so I understand, that middle all the way through. And I would say, one, that we are purpose. Listen to, if you just join in or whatever the case, listen from beginning to end on this one. Because I believe that what we even shared in the beginning going to tie into what I say now. And that is, in that middle, we have to understand that we're going through. And when you're going through, there is a certain level of endurance that you are going to have. When you're sprinting, you're sprinting. When we're going through, we're going in that middle. Like, you have to have endurance. And so I believe that what I would say to that entrepreneur is endure, endure, endure. And it's just, and you know what that means for you. I'm not going to tell you what that looks like for you, because you know what that means for you. And it's just like, endure. It's not always trying to, do something else, to do something big, or what it feels like. Just endure, go through. And what you realize is, as you take milestones and you look back, because none of us know how good our days are until all the days come in. And so until you take those little breaks and milestones and you look back and you go, oh, I got over that, or I did that, go back and look at that. But you got to go through, and you got to endure, and know that the endurance of it all is the reward, because some don't make it.
And I imagine people who started out in business when you did. You said at 20-ish, and they're not here today.
And not only are they not here today in business, what I think about is, because you could pivot, you could morph into more things, you can evolve mentally. They're not here, and I think that's the part when we talk about, enduring and not allowing this thing to overtake you. I know some people say the business doesn't fail, the entrepreneur does. Some people believe in that. And I just believe that people can pivot. Like, you don't have to, if the business is outdated and it just doesn't work anymore, you can pivot, you can do all those different things. It doesn't mean you're the failure. Right. But what the thing about it is, mentally, do you allow things to overtake you where you don't make it? Because what we don't talk about in entrepreneurship is suicide and the, level of depression that can come. And even if you have depression, it doesn't mean you fail, but can you go through? Right. And so, that's the kind of things that when we say didn't make it, those are the kind of things that I really think about.
That's good. And that would have been a question I asked you in terms of what has sustained you. You've had stick and stay in business, some form of it. And nothing says we have to do the same thing. You've reinvented, you've stepped back, you pulled back, you made conscious decisions to say, what do I want this to look like? And that's absolutely fine. And Amber, I'm so glad you're on here, because I remember when we first met you were working at the post office. And so, you know what?
My parents retired from the post office, both of them.
Okay. So Amber's been there a while, and for her, starting her business as a realtor. And so you're helping us, Kim, enduring. That's the whole word, endure. It doesn't mean that things are terrible, things could be great, but we got to stay in there. And you can do other things. I can be this and that in this business. Like you are, it is makeup. It is, it was lashes, it was brows, it's
all of those things. Yes, it is raising money for breast cancer. I've helped raise $500,000 for uninsured Black women to get mammograms. Wow. It is. Okay, I'll take care of it. I have it for you in the morning. Okay. All right. Great job.
I love it, because your mom too.
Yes.
Mom. And I love it. You didn't say be quiet. You're like dressing her, and that's
yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. Come wave, because I know you want to wave.
Let us see the princess.
Hey, Miss Charlotte.
How are you? You're a big girl. Last time I saw her, you would come and spoke at church, and she was a little bitty something.
Exactly. Yes. So even mommyhood and all of that, again, not apologizing for that. I think that time is over. I'm not going to apologize because I have a child and we have to do what we do. Okay, turn it back on for me. So I'm not going to apologize for that, because that's just real life. And I think, again, giving people permission, we waiting on somebody to give us permission to do something, when we need to just take our own permission. Because then we actually give premise for someone else to be able to do what they need to do. And they can look at that and say, oh, that's how she roll. Oh, I can roll like that too. Yeah, sure can, you know. And so that sort of gives us that.
That's awesome, Kim.
Yeah.
You have been a delight and a treat, and I'm going to be sending something to you in your email, so check that out. Can you all give it up for Kim Roxie tonight? She has shared from her heart, and that's how she's been like all the time, literally for at our church, Harvest Time Church,
Yes.
years ago. And we were looking to do some things and invited Kim. She was our Sunday morning and
Yes.
helped, inspired us and spoke from
Yes.
her heart and shared.
Yes. Yes.
I invited you to be I did a virtual women and finances
Yes.
thing.
Yes, you did. That was so good.
Yeah, thank you. And you jumped right on without hesitation. You were there, you supported, and I appreciate and respect and honor that you have been the same from day one. And some people get a little, but not you at all. And I love that about you and I appreciate that. And everybody who's on, I just want Kim to be able to go back and look at the love and just share anything that you benefited from tonight. So she knows it was worth her time and her sacrifice. So Kim, thank you. I'm going to be hitting you a little later, so I'll ask you to check that out. But thank you. I'm going to let you go and thank you. And you all hang on. I'm going to be on with you for a moment here. But Kim, good night. Kisses to you. Thank your daughter for letting us steal her. Tell her I did it. Tell her Auntie Charlotte did it.
I will.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Good night.
All right. Good night, y'all. Love you.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here. Endure is the word, Jennifer. That's how we're going to wrap this up. And Nikki, yes. We are not going to wait for permission to parent, to be those moms, to be those sisters. I love that Kim in the moment just was talking to her daughter. There's no like, be quiet, baby. And I was somewhere once and their daughter kind of popped in and this lady was leading a meeting and she just, got her daughter real good. And it's like, that's not necessary, that you're her mother. And we don't want anybody else to be more important than, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for being on and sharing that you benefited and you gained some great things. I have been receiving inboxes from folks saying, hey, this person would be good to have on and this person. And so I'm doing that. Thank you all. I want this to be for you all and how you can benefit. So Winning Wednesday, my goal is twice a month, just because I have a whole lot going on, writing another book, traveling, doing a lot of great work, and I'm loving it. It's what I'm purposed to do. So to make sure I can be consistent here twice a month. And so we've got some good things lined up for the coming months. We're circling back. We're going to have our couples on. A big request for that. There was a lot of interest in that. And then I told you, a young lady reached out to me and she said, you know what? There's life after divorce and let's talk about that. So we're going to do that. Amber, you're on. I've got a couple who's into real estate and would love to pull you in just to help us understand things that we can and should be doing in that space to be more impactful and effective in reaching toward our goals. So I'm here to just bring the people who are winning every day without perfection or permission to you and would love to hear your thoughts, your ideas. You want to be on. So you got something to share and some ways to encourage us. Message me, text me, hit me up so we can make it happen. Okay. So I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I really try to shoot for them 30 minutes, but if it's longer, then we go a little longer. Thank you for listening, supporting, encouraging, and we will see you next time. So remember, we're winning without perfection or permission in every single area of our lives. That's what I desire for you and everybody you know and you love. Keep going forward. Okay. That's a wrap for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to play our little closing video. Bye-bye.